Hey, guess what? I'm going to C2E2 this April of 2024. I'll be doing the 3-day pass from April 26th through April 28th, so that there's a small chance you might be able to see me there. Here's my C2E2 cosplay lineup, as I'll be cosplaying 3 different characters each day so that you can be able to see me there. Also, if you're new to the channel, why don't you hit that subscribe button? Press the bell icon for notifications so you can be notified on when the next video is uploaded. I also have Instagram, TikTok, and Discord, so why don't you follow me there? Okay, you may enjoy the video. Los Wiggles is the Spanish-speaking version of the Australian Wiggles. The show was released in 2006 in the Latin America Disney Channel, and their songs are basically from the Australian Wiggles, but sung in Spanish. There are a total of 26 episodes, and in this video I'm going to be ranking all 26 episodes from worst to best. Now I will have to include the Wiggle House segment and the Sailing Around the World segment if it makes the episode better or worse, and I will not include Dorothy's dance class segment since it appears in every single episode, except for episode 24. And I want to see if the songs helped or not. Keep this in mind that this is my opinion on the episodes I'm going to be ranking, so feel free to hate an episode I like, or feel free to like an episode I hate. So with that being said, let's begin. Number 26, episode 24. I have said this in top 5 worst Los Wiggles episode that this is the worst Los Wiggles episode. I want to say is that there wasn't a single new song and it's just 6 repeated songs. Off to a bad start, I guess. The Sailing Around the World segment made this episode extremely boring. It dragged out towards the middle of the video. This segment, however, is longer than the Australian version of this segment. I actually timed both of the Australian and the Spanish version of both segments to see which segment is the longest. The Australian was 8 minutes, while the Spanish version of this segment was 10 minutes. I'm not kidding, 10 minutes. Since there were no new songs, some person who was working on the episode, or the Wiggles team, thought it was a good idea to add I Climbed 10 Stairs. Again, a wiggly animation that we've heard in episode 8. I just cannot get over the fact that there were 2 songs from episode 8, 2 songs from episode 15, and 2 songs from episode 16. This, by far, is still the worst Los Wiggles episode ever. There was no fun to it, everything was just boring, and all the songs are just repeats from previous episodes. Number 25, episode 22. There was so much going on in this episode. Before this episode was uploaded on YouTube, in the Wiggles Wikipedia page, there were no songs on the list for some reason, and I kinda thought that 100% of the list was going to be new songs, but when the episode was uploaded on YouTube, only 87% of the songs were multiple repeats, and only 1 new song, and that was the name game. And that was extremely short, so what was the point of that if that song was 1 minute? Just like episode 24, even though this was uploaded before that, someone thought it was a good idea to add another wiggly animation of Guess What? A song that we've heard in episode 13. Why was there a live concert version of Wake Up Gotti? For a second, I thought they were gonna play Where's Gotti, but they didn't. You know what also sucks? In the Wiggle House segment, they sang Quack Quack instead of singing Here Come the Chicken. This episode was really terrible. Like, I don't know what just happened. Number 24, episode 26. I know that this was the last episode of Los Wiggles, but I find it to be disappointing and this was a giant waste. Despite that there were 6 songs, I don't know if Wind, Rain, and the Sea should be counted or not. I thought that this episode was going to play Bing Bang Bong and Dorothy's Dance Party, but they did not. And what we got was Do the Owl instead, as if it was saved for last. I just still can't get over that the ending was depressing because there were no more episodes right after that. Because it was over. Very terrible last episode, if you can say. Number 23, episode 23. This episode was really horrible to begin with. It had 7 songs, but only 1 new song, and that was just a wiggly animation, while the rest are just repeats. The wiggly animation, however, kinda helped a lot. You see, Haru ga Kita was in It's a Wiggly Wiggly World, and I didn't know that Fernando was going to sing this song in Japanese. That's the only thing I did like in this episode. But what about the Wiggle House segment where Francisco was missing his guitar? I don't think the segment wasn't that enjoyable in my opinion. And I want to say is that this episode was really bad and not enjoyable because of multiple repeat songs. Number 22, episode 21. This episode is literally similar to episode 23, although this episode was uploaded before that. It had 7 songs, but only one new song, and that was once again a wiggly animation, while the rest are just repeats that we've heard in previous episodes. I didn't want to disrespect Georgia's song and Captain's Magic Buttons, since those 2 songs were great in this episode, even though this is the second time that we've heard these 2 songs before. The segment was okay in my opinion, but at least they sang Little Brown Ant in the wiggly animation, but the rest of the episode was just bad. Number 21, Episode 6. Really? Only 4 songs? That sounds extremely boring if you ask me. We want a lot of songs to entertain us. However, both of the Wiggle House and the Sailing Around the World segment were good, to say the least. But in the Sailing Around the World segment, I thought they were going to sing Akapame Tinathena, We Love Anthems. Again, I don't know if I said it right. But they didn't, and that was disappointing. At least the Wiggle House segment was about all of the Wiggles were singing what they love to do in the Wiggle House, and that was a good part, I guess. The only song I did like they played was Lights, Camera, Action, Wiggles. You know, the song that they play in the intro. Overall, this episode was really bad in my opinion. Number 20, Episode 13. This episode was bad. Not really bad or terribly bad, just bad. Since it is just repeat songs and only one new song, and that was just a wiggly animation. The only thing I don't want to disrespect is the song I Can Do So Many Things, since it's Zoe singing that song, which is the only thing that was enjoyable in this episode, while throughout the episode was really bad. The segment was okay in my opinion. Number 19, Episode 12. It's the same thing as Episode 13, even though this episode was uploaded on YouTube before that, as it had 4 repeat songs and only one new song, and that was a wiggly animation. I did like, however, the segment where Zoe loses her appetite. That was the only great part, as I said this in top 5 best Zoe moments. But anyways, throughout this whole episode, with the exception of the Wiggle House segment, was bad. I didn't find this to be enjoyable at all, and repetitive songs are really boring. I believe that this is the first episode where it only can have 1 to 2 new songs. Number 18, Episode 17. It's still a bad episode in my opinion. I did like, however, the Wiggle House segment where the Wiggles go shopping and were telling puns to Wags, but the rest of the episode was just bad because of the usual repeat songs. This is the first episode where a song would be played more than 2 times, and that was Here Comes a Bear, a song that we heard in Episode 1, Episode 11, and now Episode 17. The only new song that played was the concert live version of Mop Mop, but this episode could have been more improved. Number 17, Episode 16. This episode was actually mediocre in my opinion, meaning that this episode was not that good. Sure, it had 3 new songs, well, I'm not sure about that. It did have 4 repetitive songs, and the Sailing Around the World segment was sorta okay, I guess. One thing I noticed is that we finally got a normal music video for Can You Point Your Fingers and Do the Twist, as we've been getting concert versions of this song 2 times. But I guess throughout the episode was mediocre. Number 16, Episode 25. Despite that it had 5 repeat songs and only 2 new songs, at least this episode had a major improvement, unlike Episode 21, 22, 23, and 24, where the 4 episodes had less than 2 new songs. I did love the Wiggle House segment where Francisco is not getting everything right for a rainy day, and that was funny though. But overall, this episode was okay and decent in my opinion. Number 15, Episode 19. Yes, I'm aware that this episode had 4 repeat songs and only 1 new song. I am surprised that the Sailing Around the World segment and the Wiggle House segments both appeared in this episode. Although the Sailing Around the World segment, where Captain Feathersword was sleeping and dreaming, was okay, but also funny too. I did love the Wiggle House segment where Fernando was trying to get a rabbit out of his hat, but what I loved the most in this episode was when they played Play Your Guitar with Francisco. That was the best moment ever in Episode 19, hands down. This episode was decent and okay in my opinion. Number 14, Episode 11. This episode was not bad at all. Sure, it did have 4 repeat songs, but at least they gave us 3 new songs. The Wiggle House segment was good, where the Wiggles paint pictures. There's pretty much nothing else to say other than that this episode was very decent and a little bit good. Number 13, Episode 14. This episode was really good to begin with. One thing I noticed is that since there were 8 songs, they gave us 4 repeat songs, but they gave us 4 new songs. Sounds perfectly balanced if you ask me. My 2 favorite moments from this episode were the wiggly animation of Gulp Gulp and George's song. I thought that this song was not going to exist because this song belongs to Murray's daughter, but somehow they sang it anyway. So overall, this episode was really good in my opinion. Number 12, episode 20. This episode was also good, and yes, I know there were 4 repeat songs, but at least they gave us 2 best songs, and that was Go Captain Go and Do the Flap. The sailing around the world was the best part in this episode, where Captain Feathersword and his crew play soccer, or football if you don't live in America. At least they played lights, camera, actions, wiggles just like in episode 6. Very decent and good episode. Number 11, episode 7. Now we are getting into the great episodes. Episode 7 had great songs on the list. The Wiggle House segment was the best part of the episode where Gotti wants to paint the Wiggle House, as I also set this in top 5 best Gotti moments. I love how there were 2 wiggly animations, and that was butterflies flit and a frog went wanna walking. I would love to say that episode 7 was a great episode in my opinion. Number 10, episode 8. Although there were 2 songs that I'm not familiar with, at least 4 songs helped it all. I love how they played Toot Toot Chugga Chug a Big Red Car, the best classic Wiggles songs ever. The Sailing Around the World segment was really enjoyable, where the 3 pirate crew said sorry to the captain after, well, injuring him. It's still a great episode in my opinion. Number 9, episode 9. Very great episode to begin with, like, it's getting there. My favorite part of this episode was the wiggly animation of vegetable soup. I did love the Wiggle House segment where Gatti, Francisco, and Zoe had to clean themselves so that they don't spread germs after Fernando cooked vegetable soups. Despite that, there were 3 repeat songs, but at least they also gave us 3 new songs, which is also perfectly balanced if you ask me. Number 8, episode 10. Now this episode was really awesome to begin with. Now this episode had 8 songs, but they gave us 6 new songs that seemed perfect in my opinion. My favorite songs from this episode were Hat on My Head, Nicky Nacky Knocky Noo, Dorothy Would You Like to Dance With Me, and Having Fun at the Beach. The Sailing Around the World segment was great, where Captain Feathersword teaches the Nicky Nacky Knocky Noo dance movements. I enjoyed this episode so much and it was so enjoyable. Number 7, episode 15. Now I love how they gave us 3 new songs and 2 repeat songs. The Wiggle House segment made this episode even better, where Zoe loses her drums, as I also set this in top 5 best Zoe moments. The ending of the segment also made it even better, where Francisco somehow loses his guitar. I didn't expect that they would play a song from It's a Wiggly Wiggly World, and that is Let's Go, We're Riding in the Big Red Car. So in conclusion, I say that episode 15 is a very awesome episode in my opinion. Number 6, episode 3. This episode is still awesome, hands down. They give us great songs, including the classic Rockabye Your Bear. This was the first time where they sang about waking up Gotti, and that is Wake Up Gotti, and that is the best moment ever of Gotti, which I also set this in top 5 best Gotti moments. I did like the Wiggle House segment where the Wiggles have to test their musical knowledge. In the song Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes, I love how they added Pablo the Chef, as he appeared in the prologue of Hot Potato 2. Number 5, episode 4. This episode was amazing and I love it. The Sailing Around the World segment was the best part of this episode, where Captain Feathersword uses his magic buttons as a pirate radio, and they played Captain's Magic Buttons, which is my favorite song from Hoop-Dee-Doo It's a Wiggly Party. They even played 2 classic songs from the beginning, and that was Hot Potato and Get Ready to Wiggle. This episode was amazing and very enjoyable to watch. Number 4, episode 2. One word, perfection. It gave us a lot of great songs on the list, and they even played my favorite classic song, and that was Fruit Salad. The Sailing Around the World segment made this episode even better, where Captain Feathersword was introducing his pirate crew. And this is the first time where they played Can You Point Your Fingers and Do the Twist, and this episode was extremely satisfying to watch. Number 3, episode 1. The very first episode of Los Wiggles, and the first episode was stupendous and perfect to start, and the best song they played was D-O-R-O-T-H-Y, My Favorite Dinosaur, which was the first song to play in the series. I love how Anthony appeared as a cameo along with his wife Mickey and his daughter Lucia. Even Professor Singalatsasonga appeared in this episode portrayed by Sam, and he did a great job singing Sydney Barcole? I don't know if I said it right, in Spanish. Number 2, Episode 5. Now this is the best episode right here. I love how they played the 2 songs that were heard in the Mariachi Wiggles, and that was Move Your Arms Like Henry and The Monkey Dance. The Wiggle House segment was the best part, where Francisco tells the story about the Wiggles moving into the Wiggle House. And this is the first episode where Zoe sings I Can Do So Many Things. The best song that Zoe ever sang. Hands down. Number 1, Episode 18. I don't care what anyone says, this is hands down my number 1 favorite episode of all time. The favorite part is when they sang Hey Hey Hey, We're All Pirate Dancing, which is also my favorite song from It's a Wiggly Wiggly World, which is also my favorite album and home video. And I love how Fernando sang this song, as I said this in top 5 best Fernando moments. The Sailing Around the World segment was the amazing best part ever, as Captain Feathersword and his pirate crew introduces themselves again, but this time they tell us what they love to do. What made this episode even better was when they played Henry's Underwater Big Band and Zoe singing I Can Do So Many Things. I love this episode so much, and I will always watch it, no matter how many times I've watched this. And that is the end of ranking every Los Wiggles episodes from worst to best. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and before I tell you guys to like and comment, there's one more thing I want to say. So, tomorrow I'm going to be leaving, and I'm going to Orlando, Florida as a vacation. So basically, this is my last video before I leave. I just wanted to take a break from uploading YouTube videos, just to spend time with myself and my family on vacation. So I'm going to MegaCon, which is located in Orlando, Florida, and that's it. So I think I'll come back next week just to continue uploading YouTube videos to keep you guys entertained. And I think that's it. So yeah, if you made it at the end of the video, please like this video and comment. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for notifications so that you don't miss out on any new videos. And with that being said, peace out everyone.